Alright, so today I'm here to just go over some basics of mapping, because some people want to know, how to map. Um, Starting off is probably one of the most crucial skills of mapping is knowing how to map jumps. Now, there are four basic patterns, four basic patterns, which are these. I just like to call these spiral jumps, and then there's the side to sides, same thing, and then there's the spin jumps. It's where you kind of just have to spin in a circle and you'll end up hitting them. Those are the four basic types of jumps that you will see most commonly used. They're pretty much always a good option. Whenever you use them, they're always good. But now we get into some more how would you call them? Less favored, or just jumps that don't always fit. This is also in one take because I don't have time, so sorry for making mistakes or pauses. But first off, these are pin jumps, and generally people don't like them, especially when they're really fast. Although they have had a use recently in the form of vibros, which are jumps that are side to side or just jumps that are faster than 400 BPM. Now this would be the general pattern. Obviously that's way faster than it's supposed to be because I'm trying to show. I could probably do here. This is probably better. So basically people do it so it's 1, 2. So they do it twice, and then they go to the next one. And that's how it goes. That's been the most common use of them. And another use of them is to transition. Some people they do these kind of jumps, right? But then they want to transition to something new. So what they'll do is then they'll do this. And now that leads them perfectly into the spiral jumps where you can just do that. That's also a very good use of them. So those are pin jumps. Now there are also side steps and Y jumps. Side steps don't really see much use, only in usually in slower, slower jump maps. But Y jumps can be found in fast jump maps, and they'll usually include this kind of pattern where they go back and forth and they switch and go the other direction. But they're also found in vibro maps where same kind of thing. They do 2 on each side, and that pattern gets repeated. So it looks something like this. But overall, Y jumps aren't too bad. And then now we get on to the hard part, tech jumps, or just non-standard pattern jumps. These are all standard pattern jumps, and these are pretty much all the patterns you'll need to know. But then there comes standard jumps. Stuff like I'm trying to map something for just real quick. Just something like this. Where it's kind of a mix of all the patterns, but never really fully... It's just a mix of all the patterns, and this is what is generally used in a lot of the harder jump maps. And it's... that's more something that you'll have to just have to learn from practice. And then... last thing for jumps, I would probably say if you're once you hit over the 400 BPM mark for your jumps, I would always just start doing the doubles and turn them into vibros instead of just jumps. but that's completely up to you. Alright, so now we're going to move on to spirals, and spirals they can be tricky, but let me turn up the tick, or the beat divisors. Now, generally, spirals will follow this kind of pattern. It's just a snake and then a snake. And a lot of really fast spiral maps will just repeat this pattern over and over and over again. A really good example of this is Terminal Missa. That's a very good example of where it's just this pattern over and over again. But there are times when you can mix things up a little bit. You can go back on itself, like that. Or you can even add in a little kind of turn that's usually not there. Oh, what did I do? Okay. But having a kind of little turn right here, where you just take a turn where it's not supposed to be there. And that can add some complexity to it, but overall, again, I would say spirals are just something that you're gonna have to practice and get used to. Now we're gonna move into just the advanced parts of mapping, where you start mapping tech and where you have patterns with slides and jumps mixed in with them. But generally, you want to keep things facing the same direction, like that. And also, if you're going to do slides when you're doing pin jumps, or not pin jumps, spiral jumps, you generally never want to generally never want to put the slide on the diagonal one, like that. You generally always want to put it when it's going just horizontal or vertical. This just makes it a lot easier to read, since diagonals are just really hard to read when they're slides like that. There you can get into some very complicated patterns with this kind of stuff, and overall, I would again say it's another thing of experience. It's like stuff like that. But these are very common slides. So the common slides are just an L shape, and then you have just an incomplete L, and then you also have this kind of squiggly, and then you also just have the one. Now, with quantum mapping, there are more slides, such as this, or just other weird slides. But I'm not going to be talking about quantum mapping, and that's just something that I'm probably never going to do on my channel unless there's enough people asking for it. But these are showing you the basics of mapping. It's not really much showing you basic patterns, but I will also be releasing a video that shows me mapping a song, Panda Eyes and Temanite High Score, so you'll be able to see what I like to do throughout there. I won't have any voiceover or anything. There'll be a few text prompts, but overall it's just me raw mapping. Thank you.